Ridiculous. Oh, my lord.
There's something in the water, Jason, for our old favorites on Genji not playing Genji anymore.
You know, that makes me wonder, right? Is it the old guard just falling off and everyone else is catching up because of the difference of time they've had to play? Or are they actually just falling off themselves individually? Maybe they're losing some steam, momentum, or morale. I mean, this is the perfect opportunity for everyone out there, especially if you're an old guard pro, to prove you're one of the best players in the, well, I guess, the Western world here, and you deserve to be in the Overwatch League.
I would say the competition is tougher. I mean, there's no doubt about that someone like Tvik is still one of the top players in the game, but I think it's safe to say that especially with the amount of people that really specialize in one hero, that you have the gaps closed in certain matchups in a way that perhaps they weren't in the past.
Okay. Well, we're about to kick off the fall here. Looks like it's going to be Villager's EP. I know somewhere out there, Hex is hoping to see that junk grab. It looks like Munchkin will be switching back to Tracer, but I mean, this is what we expected, right? The 2-2-2 out of both teams. Gonna be going for the high ground initial control. And I think something that gets overlooked is how quickly you get out of this spot and how quickly you get to the main center of the high ground control, because you can fight from a little bit of a higher position where they have to fight when they're on the lower ground.
You can indeed, and both teams not wasting any time at getting into each other. It's gonna take place in the middle, and both teams trade out heavily, but it's going to be Misfits, or LK this time, with a little bit better of an engagement. It's 2-1 early on, and this is going to be forcing Misfits back a bit.
Well, yeah, I mean, we do see Misfits actually lose out on both the supports. And we do know Misfits is on the red side of attack, so just 1 second for that to fix up, guys. But Laser Kittens do have that 1-0 lead. That is, in fact, true. And so far, Laser Kittens have been able to take the point pretty easily. I mean, if we compare focus, right? Who died first for both teams? Well, Laser Kittens, they lost out of Malzaza. But Misfits, they lost Mineral and Zebasai. They lost both the supports to have that longevity they need in the fights.
Well, and once you lose both supports, you just don't have the healing to sustain. And generally speaking, losing your Winston early is a bad omen for a team, unless you hit pay dirt. That was a well-bought death there from Malzaza. And I gotta say here, look at Misfits, not wasting any time. They sneak the point even as the fight is still in progress. So for LK, it's looking like they'll pull this one back, but they do lose progress as a result.
I'm honestly, to be just perfectly blunt, yeah, cool, you took the point, you got like 15%, 12%, but you lost the fight, you lost the war. You might have won a small battle here, but this is a game of, you know, team fighting. This isn't a game of just a couple percent here or there. You need to kind of stick with your team, and maybe they're trying to force them to come down, but instead of actually contesting the point, like, all right, we know there's 2 of you on the point, we're gonna fight you 6v4, clean that up, then go get the point, and we'll give away the 12%.
I agree. I mean, that's clearly what Laser Kittens was going for there. Sometimes it doesn't work out quite that well. Misfits was hoping that it wouldn't work out that well. Nevik's just getting chunked down, not able to bring out the blade. Krems was right in his face, able to prevent that immediately. And LK right now, they're just playing considerably solid. If you take a look at the poke damage both teams are taking going into this, Misfits is getting just crushed on the entry, and Laser Kittens is relatively healthy, Jason.
I mean, yeah, obviously it's a little difficult if you get tunneled into or funneled into a tight area where Shurikens just almost certainly cannot miss. But watch out for this. We got Nevix with Blade, and we got no Trance out of Gray anymore. Munchkin.
Oh no.
Don't tell me they're going to come this way. Oh, they're walking right by him. The pulse will comes through, and he hits nothing with it. That's a little unfortunate. But Nevix hasn't used the blade, and that's what I want to see, what he can do with this, or is he even going to need it?
Well, the blade is going to come out here from Nevix, and he does feel he needs it. Misfits is done playing around. They want control of this point now. They pretty much have to grab it now, given the progress situation that they're in. And it's a good fight for them here so far. The problem is that LK can conserve some resources now. They know this is a lost fight, and they only have to win 1 more decisive fight, Jason, to pull this map back. So there's so many different ways they can play this in terms of managing their ult economy.
I mean, speaking of managing economy, like, they used 3 ultimates to try to hold that point. Munchkin obviously went for the Hail Mary play, trying to catch on to like quite a few people. But the Primal Rage came in, the Self-Destruct came in, didn't really get much off of that, but they still have the blade. And Zebasai has a Trance, so again, and Zebasai cannot get focused down. If he can actually survive this one, then ideally you should be able to count this one out. But the Soundbiter Laser Kittens is still going to be there, where Mineral's only at 80%. He's already about half HP.
Well, I'll tell you this much. If they use ultimates now, it would probably be a mistake. They lost Malzaza.
But the Trance was used.
Oh.
Zebasai used it, and they still have a blade for Kib.
That's really good for Laser Kittens. That was a little bit premature by Zebasai. And now, for LK, where that was going to be a rough fight, they lost Winston early. After Winston dies, Zebo piles off the Transcendence, and suddenly, he's gifted a really great opportunity to LK now, Jason.
Well, if you guys remember Kib back from the Overwatch Contenders showdown, you know how good of a Genji this man is going to be. It's going to be a little bit difficult, though, on Village, when people are so far spread out. But you can see Tvik, he's looking for that 1v1 against Munchkin, trying to protect that point. In the meantime, Kib coming in from the high ground, he spots Zebasai out, and Zebasai's got to be very careful, but Kib's not going to go for the chase instead. They want the focus, and they want the kill to reinforce.
Well, reinforce is down. That's one of the people that can apply pressure to Kib. Kib, the gates are open. He's looking for anything. The blade is out like an eagle from the skies, dropping right down. does enough, but to Vic, not going down quietly. Nevix with a blade of his own, and Misfits, Jason, is fighting back here in a dire situation.
Correct, it's Vic, gives himself a double kill on the post bomb. I mean, that might have just been enough to hold on to this one with the point still being captured, still a man on it. Finally, it's going to be contested up here, but Reinforced is going to be the man to try to go in and try to force them back, trying to, I guess, hold them off at this point, and with the help of his teammates, they do focus one down. 97% built up here. Do not tell me Misfits are going to do this. Munchkin is going to be there to contest the point. He has the post bomb. He's looking for some sort of avenue to make this work.
Munchkin right now, one of the last hopes here for LK. Misfits on the verge of bringing this back. It sticks! He gets Zemosai at the end, and Laser Kittenz not going down here just yet. They flipped the point, by the way, Jason, and all that. Misfits got off the point, so LK now, they don't have to worry about overtime. It's going to be overtime for Misfits, and suddenly things have flipped so quickly in the span of the last 20 seconds.
And to Vic, he's trying to get there to contest the point, but he gets dropped. He's going to fall to Gray. Now nowhere's left on Misfits here to even contest anymore. Laser Kittenz, and the brink of time, pulled that one back. That Hail Mary throw from downtown out of Munchkin catching Zemosai. That was so well done. He was able to take away the Discord, take away the healing, and the prediction throw out of him might have just saved him that round.
Very well, and you know what? I'm going to be beating this horse until it is dead, call PETA, but Munchkin is just looking so much better today, Jason. I mentioned earlier in the cast, I'm going to keep mentioning it, so long as he keeps doing stuff like this, where so far to me, it's been one of the biggest differences over the past week.
It's just Munchkin.
Yeah.
Just changing things up, improving his play a little bit, maybe melding with the team a little bit more here. We're seeing them currently hover over McCree, so going for double hit scan at the moment for Laser Kittenz with Kib, the one to flex to Diva, and Krebs the one to flex to Soldier. So interesting showing.
Wait, we got a somewhat rare showing nowadays, at least in terms of what teams prefer, but to Vic busting out an old favorite, Roadhog, entering the scene, and this is a very good round for Roadhog here, Jason. It helps him for the shield battle that Misfits is going to try and win, and you can get free kills by hooking people straight to Mondada's gold in that pit.
And very difficult, actually, for Laser Kittenz to even protect their backline, the two DPS players. Typically, when you see double hit scan, Reinhardt is a good follow-up just because they can sit behind the shield and be very protected to pick up these kills. But with Tavik now getting position on point, his opportunity to get these hooks and drop them to Mondada's gold at the bottom of the pit. It's the bottom of the rainbow, the Lucky Charms, I don't know what you want to call it.
There's mystical stuff down there, Jason, that's the bottom line. And the other thing that you need to know here is that Misfits, they play this one slower, they go a little bit old school with the Reinhardt, and it works out. Laser Kittenz didn't really have a direct answer, and now let's see how they adapt to this new look that Misfits is putting out. And they're a team that prides themselves on their versatility for Misfits, so I'm happy to see this coming out here.
Yeah, I imagine we're going to see a Tracer switch from Munchkin. Yeah, just seeing that, obviously, it's very easy to feed off of a Roadhog. But, I mean, when you're running a Roadhog against no Reinhardt, you shouldn't really be missing hooks, you know, at least in general. So it's very difficult to play safely against this, even if you have a Diva on your team.
Tavik goes a little bit too deep in his fishing expedition, immediately dunked into the cold depths, and Laser Kittenz piling on after that overextension, getting everything they want more. This is a clean sweep here, Jason. 6-0.
Expeditions, piles of gold. Are we in Shinglethorn Vale right now? I'm a little confused here. I don't know what game we're playing anymore. But yeah, so, I mean, the great switch, like you see Munchkin gave up his ult percent with the McCree. He's like, all right, you know what, we need a Tracer. Let's just switch now, and really showing their composure as a player, as a team to give up, you know, that ult percent that you might feel like you can make a big play on to play something your team needs to counter something, which is now forced Tavik to switch over to the Tracer. So double hit scan for them again. Just a little bit of a different form. And Mazaza, he's got that Power Rage. He's in a really good position to knock people off.
That was a really good position just for early cleave. He got plenty of damage on that, plenty of attention from the rest of the Misfit squad, and look at how much it opened up the rest of LK, just coming on the flank. The tack visor from Crims does its work, and LK, off of that engage from Malzaza, really just easily takes that fight.
And one thing we should, you know, I think point out between these two teams, I think they're rivals of each other is a good way to put it. They're definitely rivals of each other. So this is, you know, much more than just who can win the series. It's who's going to be the dominant team and who wants to really put their foot in the face of the other. And I think this is a really important match for both of them, just in general, for like mental health, to just beat the rival. Like, that's the easiest way to say it. It's like, I don't know how an American rivalry. Can you give me an American rivalry in sports?
American rivalry in sports. Well, I'd say something involving the Jets, but they usually lose. So I'll get back to you on that one. As LK right now dealing with the counter dive here early on. It's 5 versus 5 at the moment. And LK just holding back, better positioning, and Krebs with just a lot of room to work with here, Jason. He was under a little bit of pressure by Manitin, but it doesn't really matter in the end.
You know, you can see Laserkin's not even using the Diva this time. It looks like they're feeling confident. I mean, they did have a Diva earlier on, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, a Kip who switched over to Genji now. So a little bit more squishy lineup, but both teams running this triple DPS column. And Kip has his blade. Zebasai's nowhere even close to his Transcendence. But look at how they're playing this one, though. They're not holding aggressive, knowing they have these two ultimates. So either to me that says they're not actually sure of what Misfits have, or they want to let Misfits jump onto the point, you know, kind of together, and then attack right after. Because you can see the way that we had Malzaza positioned.
And look at that, Tvik right now is going in for Malzaza, not able to connect on that. Looks like it did, but Malzaza still under a heavy assault, falls early on, but LK have Misfits activate their trap card. Kip goes in and everyone who's chasing Malzaza and cleans house. He feasts on the corpses of Misfits there. We're in overtime, Jason, and it's looking like LK might be up a quick 2-0 here in Nepal.
I think almost certainly there's actually no one on Misfits to contest, and there you go. There's your Kittenz, showing their adaptability, switching heroes up quite a bit, dealing with the Roadhog that Tvik pulled out, and you know what, 2-0, only one up in the series, looking good.
How do you think Malzaza feels with his impersonation of a Hearthstone card there, Noble Sacrifice? Just took one for the team.
I honestly wish I could get that reference, but I don't play Hearthstone, I'm sorry. I got the trap card because Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, Heart of the Cards, Exodia, you know, I'm all down for that, but that was when I was in high school and I was actually the worst player out of my friends.
You played Yu-Gi-Oh?
Yeah, of course, who didn't play Yu-Gi-Oh! Monster Reborn was like the best card. I'm waiting to see a Mercy come in and make a reference to that.
You know what, I didn't, and now I feel like less of a person.
Blue Eyes White Dragon, you know what? After this, we're gonna go to some Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards and we'll have a battle on stream.
I'm down.
Right.
I'm stacking my deck with trap cards, by the way.
Well, I know how good you're at Mario Kart, as we saw you play against Flame, and that was a very one-sided match.
Hey man, I got first in one map where Flame was trying the style on me, so it still counts.
It does, I give you that, it does count. So now going to the third point here on Nepal, Laser Kittenz up 2-0. Seeing, again, similar comps from both teams. No divas, actually, surprisingly, in this one ZP.
Well, there will be no defensive matrix this time. This means it's going to be a little bit bloodier, Jason. Less protection, both teams getting each other's faces. I expect these fights to be over quickly and decisively between the two teams, but they're actually being a little bit passive here, feeling each other out. But Tvik tastes the Helix Rocket breakfast, and let's go open LK up to be way more aggressive.
Definitely isn't even close to tasting like a rainbow, as he does drop, like he said, and that just kind of opened up the floodgates here for Laser Kittenz to go full attack mode, full beast mode, as they just charge straight into Manton and is able to respond until kill, yes, but the point is still being captured and held here for Laser Kittenz. You can see the rest of them trying to escape out of Misfits. Actually kind of wanting to fight it out, but Manton has no HP, and Kid being so accurate with these shurikens is able to close out that kill.
I really think Manton should have taken up hiking there by jumping off the side, and just re-saying a little bit earlier, him staying there didn't really make a whole lot of sense. I mean, I guess he built a bit of ultimate, but it's also going to delay Misfits coming back in here by a considerable amount.
Just turn on your Enya, man. Just let it go. Let it be. Yeah, so now we see Manton trying to go up to the side. He's trying to apply pressure from a different angle. The team has gone there as well. Actually, Malzaza might be a little bit too deep. You can see the entire team turning to look at him, but how does Zebasai,
I don't know.
Of all people, go down when Malzaza's 1v6?
I don't understand. Zebo shouldn't have died there, but Misfits still making the most of this. They're able to flood right in the Laser Kittenz. They get the pickoffs. It is a feast for Nevix, Tvik, and company, but Kip trying to make this a little bit spicier. Blade comes out late, but it might have been a bit of a waste, Jason.
Yeah, I mean, he's trying to go for the big play, and I mean, he's a Genji player who can make that happen. So, you know, this time it didn't work out, but who knows what would have happened if he tried it again. But they still lose the point. 44% built up, but they still have 2 points in the bank anyway, so they can afford to technically lose out on one and go to another if they do one.
Right now, Laser Kittenz is playing with the house money, both in this round and in the map as a whole. It's Misfits that really has to play near perfect going forward. And I think ult economy is going to be a big part here, Jason, where you take a look, they have the advantage, but they need to ration this as to not give Laser Kittenz a good fight going forward.
You know, you just kind of wonder which ultimate do they want to use. So they have the chance to counter out against the Visor out of Krems. And they know Kib doesn't have Blade because he just used that last fight. So maybe that's going to be the commitment. But instead, going for the Sound Barrier. Just catch on to 5 people Tvik not going to be caught onto. And hopefully for them, this is all the ults they're going to use. But now with Tvik going down, they might force an investment out of Nevix.
It's possible. Nevix right now has his finger on the trigger, probably doesn't want to pull it right now. And luckily for him, he's going to get to save it here. So Misfits, they get out of that with minimum investment. So that's pretty good for them. Now they have a lead, and they're only about 2 major fights away, Jason. So it's LK that, at least for this round, is going to have to dig deep and win a fight, perhaps at a bit of a disadvantage.
I wonder where Tvik is actually. Is he trying to be sneaky and look for their pulse bomb? We've seen him do that quite a few times. Hasn't really worked out so far, I guess we can say.
Where in the world is Kebab?
It's like, where's Waldo, right? You have to find the kebab.
Or
surrounded by other
Diego.
foods.
Yeah, one of the two. I mean, I can make a mystery game, but Tvik right now is under fire. No pulse bomb thrown out yet, but the pulse bomb thrown out and it connects. Now Zaza out of this fight. It's 5v5. LK is all in here with the Transcendence, but Misfits doing a good job of holding them back right now. They're not fun under the pressure, and Nevix with the blade could put this blade right into LK's heart here as they try and put them away.
All right, 90%. We're gonna have to re-engage. Kid does have Blade. Munchkin is gonna have his post bomb. They don't have any support ultis to use, but they should ideally be able to keep the man onto the actual point to force the overtime. 96% now built up. Laser Kittens happy with the respawns back to the kid with 15 HP. He's trying to make something happen, trying to be healed up last few seconds. He's gonna be dropped by Nevix, who just dashes straight through him here. And Misfits are looking to finally pick up a point.
That was not a great Dragon Blade. That was, you know, top 10 Dragon Blade fails, top 10 anime betrayals. I don't know what you want to call that, but
Did the sword betray him?
The sword betrayed him. It was out for blood, but it was a cursed sword, and eventually all those tales end in tragedy.
So much anime filmed in my head right now. I can't decide which Bleach, Naruto, I don't even know.
Just let
Claymore.
Let the Ohio enter your heart, Jason. It's fine. I mean, you still know more than Hex, so it's okay. Hex like doesn't even know where Japan is, probably.
I would imagine that's hard to miss, but it's Hex, so everything's possible. Yeah, so now what? We have Laser Kittens finally dropping a point here, finally showing that they are human. But we're going back to another point they've already been able to win earlier on. And we're going to be seeing similar comps out of both teams. We're going to have the triple DPS of the Laser Kittens, the triple DPS of the Misfits, but most importantly, Misfits aren't trying to go for like maybe the Roadhog to catch them off guard again.
Exactly, where Misfits right now, they went with the Roadhog Gambit. It actually worked out. I mean, it got them 44%, but I think A, LK is probably expecting it, so that's bad. And B, I think they would just rather go with the more tried and true here because it didn't work out quite as well as they wanted. So Misfits is going to play this a little bit more straight up, and they have a little bit better positioning here early on. They're able to get to this high ground earlier. It's going to force Laser Kittens to make more of a move, and now Zaza starting to play a little bit footsie here with Reinforce.
And these teams know each other so well because typically Tvik will go for the flank and allow Reinforce to jump in at the last second, but Tvik's not going for that avenue. Instead, he wants to play from a different angle. Zaza going for the re-engage down to half HP already, just from a couple of orbs of destruction being thrown his way here, but Reinforce is the first to fall, and Killfeed fighting up blue again.
Well, in the era of Winston footsies, Reinforce steps out of bounds first, punished by LK, and it just opens up the way for LK to take the rest. Nevix and Tvik, though, flanking for Misfits, starting to bring this back a little bit, but the problem is that LK had enough advantage to get onto the point. The thing here, though, is that Misfits is doing a good job bringing this back. We might get into a kind of lengthy stall here, Jason, potentially.
Maybe. Man, looks like I should... Oh, no, Mazaza.
Oh, no!
It was at that moment Mazaza knew he had messed up as he flew in as the point being captured. He's not Shark from last two qualifiers.
No, he is absolutely not Shriek. That is not... That was not a replay there, in the least.
We'll have to wait for him to respawn back in, but luckily for them, it's early enough in the round that it's not going to matter too much, right? So you're lose 10, 15%, not too big of a deal. And Misfits are still looking to charge with his ultimates for Manson. It's actually the closest at the moment, which kind of shows how much damage he was able to do in that initial fight that led him to capture the point.
Indeed, and this has been much better for Misfits here to begin with. I mean, yes, it's still close, but they do feel more comfortable in this composition. And in the next fight here, the question is, how well can they protect Manitin? Manitin has been really trying to dodge Mazaza all series long, but if he can create room here, this is a really good moment for Attack Visor, but could be Indiana Jones here, Jason. Blade versus sword. Or blade versus gun.
I was waiting for, yeah, like a whip versus gun reference.
Yeah.
I mean, shurikens could be whips, I guess. I don't know. Maybe a little bit stretched, but either way, we're going to see some blades come in here eventually as Kib and Nevix both holding on to theirs. Manson with the visor is able to open things up to get an initial kill, but Tvik has gone down, which is going to be so important because I believe he had that pulse bomb up and ready to go, but he's not able to use it anymore.
No, he's not, but LK is investing heavily at this point. You see Gray lucky not to fall off the ledge. And all the Zens experiencing Zen here in the Sanctum on the Paul. I mean, there's a lot of meditation here in general, but both Zens exercising that right as Reinforce. Gonna be the bouncer. Primal Rage on set point, booping and bopping LK away, but for how long? They're still getting the better of this fight.
Bop it. Turn it.
Twist it.
Yeah, that was a great game. But we're seeing now Kib go for the re-engage, right? He's got his blade out. They've already been able to pick up quite a few kills, and it seems like that ultimate might have just been a little bit wasted by that little tug of war that happened on the point of constantly pressuring them, constantly backing away, trying to make the enemy team overextend, has allowed them to take the point, but not before Misfits get 87% on the board.
No, and Misfits now, they're in the driver's seat to some extent. Yes, LK still is a round to give, but the momentum has shifted here, and Misfits only needs to take one more significant fight, so Laser Kittens, all their mulligans are gone here for this round. They must be perfect from here on out, and part of that does involve just protecting Krems, who is under heavy assault right now, but not quite enough. He gets rid of his aggressors, a good Helix rocket, and they're going to take this fight.
Look at what Munchkin did there, decision-making. Instead of going for Mineral, he goes straight for the DPS on this staircase when his team was pushing from the same direction, attack on two different fronts, and then they knew they'd be able to hold the point back before we could get the recap happen anyways. So really smart play out of him. maybe he'll still have quite a few ultimates to use here.
So I think here for Misfits, Jason, is this a case where they just try and build up the Transcendence Dragon Blade and go in for one fight? They do have that threshold, although now if they take a look at it, if they wait too long, they might only get one more good fight.
I don't know if that's the way they want to go because, no offense to Nevix, but we haven't seen like any outstanding, amazing ultimates out of him. And with how passive Laser Kittenz is playing, if he overextends to use the blade, then they can potentially pick him up before he gets a single kill.
The thing that's rough here for Misfits is that Misfits didn't even get a full engage here. They just sort of poked and their pokers died. So whatever fight they had to build up ultimate and go for one really good fight, that's gone. They have to be all in on this next fight, and it's a little bit of an advantage here for Laser Kittenz, certainly in positioning, but also in parts of Line Pro, getting chunked down under heavy pressure. And he just barely gets away.
Oh, the stick comes in. He gets a kill on a Krems, who did have his visor, but the Soundbreak comes in a little bit too late. Only catching up 3 people. Gray goes down. He had his Transcendence. Both support players losing their ultimates here. Misfits in the brink of time. But I just pull this one back. They might be able to tie things up here on Nepal.
The key there was the pressure on Line Pro and put him out of the fight. He wasn't able to barrier the way he wanted to. And Laser Kittenz thrown out of sorts. Misfits, blood in the water. The Transcendence is out, and they're looking to finish this out just now. Krems, late tack visor, reinforcing his face. To Vic at his back. That is a sandwich straight from Sweden.
Solid kebab.
Yeah, solid kebab.
Yeah. All right, so now 2-2. Misfits able to really fight back here, so maybe they needed a little bit of a warm-up, maybe some time to figure out how they can counter against Laser Kittenz. I think, you know, LK, maybe go back to the D.Va. You know, the D.Va was working really well for you. It didn't really seem like Misfits had an answer. That's how you got your first 2 initial points, and they might be doing that route.
Well, Jason, from your brain to our feed, because Krems is coming back in here on the D.Va.
That's it. No, I speak Korean.
You know what? I never knew. Or you're just telepathic.
So wrong, I know one word. It means like I love you. Yeah, so no, he's playing the D.Va, and I feel like the D.Va's gonna be a good choice, especially on Village, where Misfits are still sticking to, I was gonna say sticking to the triple DPS, but they swapped Manton over the D.Va instead. So here's exactly what we saw happen earlier on in Village.
The key thing here is that you got to think, at least on mental level, Misfits is fired up right now. You know how fired up those guys get. Certainly reinforced. He's an emotional guy, and they got to be feeling good about this, but perhaps not so much as Kid dives to the back, aided by his Zen, and gets that first kill, and immediately Laser Kittenz picking up where they left off last time on Village.
Yeah, that was not, I mean, if they were pumped up, I don't know if they are anymore here at that rate. That was just a slaughter. Just free pickings for them as they're even leaving Manson alive. He's going to get the resuit. Actually picks up a health pack, and he's resuited behind them. So I'm not sure if Laser Kittenz realized they let Manson go, and they never killed him, and he got the resuit.
Well then.
Now they know.
Either way, Misfits now looking to engage here once more, and LK, they sit pretty here. They don't quite have an ult advantage yet, but if they win this fight, they'll probably get the next fight almost for free. So this is a crucial exchange here for Misfits. If they could take this back, Jason, it'd mean big things here for the rest of this round.
You see Mazaza trying to go for the cleave inside that small room between both supports. Vic is actually trying to contest the point. He actually almost has the capture off this one, so it's forcing someone Laser Kittenz to sit back here and stop it. The point was turned. Vic gets it in just the nick of time here when it forced Mazaza back to contest, and Kid wasn't there either.
And here's the key thing is that Tavik was able to get out of dodge there. He got away. The point is now Misfits, despite Laser Kittenz having defensive positioning early on. Now they have to go onto the point. They have to blow Transcendence, and here comes the blade. Kib looking to right the mistakes of the past, clean up Misfits here, and it's going to work. But I wonder if LK had to spend more resources there than they really would have liked, Jason.
I mean, it's definitely a good point, because if they didn't let the point go for free, would they have had to have used ultimates? I would imagine eventually they would have had to have, but now they're down a major, well, 2 major offensive ultimates. Obviously, Tracer comes up really quickly, but they still have the self-destruct. They still have the ability to stall with Mazaza.
They do, and I think the key thing there is that maybe they use both ults anyways, but they would have had the luxury to wait. Roll the dope a bit, see if you win the fight off mechanics alone without doing that. Misfits, with that backhand by Tavik, kind of forced their hand there.
Oh, no, the shield! Oh. That would have been an easy kill for him to stop the resuit from coming in, but it didn't matter too much. Actually, with the return kill to Manson on a Line Pro, there was a possibility, but Nevix, he fell. He had his blade up. He had no Transcendence to stop him, and they lost out on that.
That is a bad beat for Misfits, to be sure. They're still in this fight to some extent, but I don't think LK is going to give this up for free, despite what is going on here. It's a good showing here from Reinforced as they look to secure this. Malzaza going to hit the limits of how much he can delay, but here's the problem here from Misfits, Jason. Even if they take this here, LK is at 78, about to be 80%. Misfits has to hold for about 3-4 fights.
I mean, to be fair, the last map, it was the same kind of thing. It was like 88% to 0, and Misfits were actually able to turn that around and eventually pick up the victory. But you're right, like one mistake. All it takes is one mistake for Laser Kittenz to get back in this and actually take this point and take the map.
While Misfits right now, they are in a good position. The question is just how will they manage economy going forward? Tvik holding on to that pulse bomb. We know how that can end fights before it begins, and Mauzaza gets just destroyed on the leap, and already down there Winston is Laser Kittenz here, and this is not quite the engage you're looking for.
Yeah, both tanks actually being, or both teams missing their tanks. Pulse bomb not going to connect, but Tvik has the opportunity to use it. He's actually going to spot out. He tries to land it onto him. That's a very ballsy play, but it shows Tvik maybe feels like he needs to be the big player for his team to step up with something like that. There's some sort of amazing 1 in a million pulse bombs, but either way, they still kill Kib. He didn't get a single frag off of that one, and they're still holding the point.
It still works out. I mean, it was a really nice transcendence by Zebo's side where he got to all the right places, kept Misfits up and healthy there, and I don't know, I mean, Tvik right now is just going for the highlight reel. First you have it on Eichenwald, the reverse fadeaway, and then you're just like, Genji, accept my parting gift. Still not working out, but I admire the attempts nonetheless.
Yeah. Like a guy who's not afraid to make big plays or try to make big plays happen. But he doesn't come back to bite them because he might have the ultimate still up here for the next fight if they do group up. 90%, this is the last fight here for Lazy Kittenz. They have to turn this point around. They do have a self-destruct, and they're not throwing it out just yet, but Mauzaza will be the first one to fall.
Mauzaza has just been getting crunched over and over again. There's clearly been a change in how Misfits is targeting. They're punishing it. Tvik barely able to get away. The rewind is successful. He's still in this fight. Pulse bomb up and at the ready, and Misfits trying to keep control here. And Kib is shut down. Mineral giving him the case of tinnitus into the back line. And now, even though it's back and forth, Misfits on the verge of throwing LK off the point, but LK's still here and swarming in, Jason.
It's going to be very skirmishy here. It's going to be very bloody, but Munchie does take Mineral out of this fight. You see the Deuce eventually coming in on the Mansion as well as the point will be turned over to Lazy Kittenz, but 80%. Misfits not investing any ultimates in that last chance. Actually, they did invest pretty much the self-destruct and the ultimate out of reinforce, but that was before the fight was actually turning in favor of LK.
Indeed, and I mean, one thing there is that, yes, Mauzaza got blown up early, but he got blown up so early he was able to come back into the latter part of the fight and secure it. So even when you die early on as a Winston, there's kind of a silver lining. The rest of your team can do well, but Misfits now looking to put this one away. The entire map coming down to a final fight, and Zebo gets assassinated by Mauzaza early on. The diving is successful, and here comes the Blade. Kid looking to put this right into Misfits. The Blade slicing around, not quite hitting the targets, but is zoning out as Misfits now, Jason, in what could be death throws here on the ball.
Nevix is not able to do anything though with that ultimate. The pulse going to come in advance to get the D-suit off, and there's just too many people for Lazy Kittenz here to contest the point. The point was turned over to Misfits before this fight did break out, but it doesn't matter. They've lost on too many people. Gray just slams the balls against Zebasai. Does pick up that easy kill to solidify this map for them, but that was not easy at all for Lazy Kittenz.
Not in the least, and Misfits, they had a real chance to put that one away. They let it slip away from them, and yet I still feel satisfied watching this, Jason. I mean, on both ends, yes, it's 2-0 Laser Kittenz, but overall, this has been some quality Overwatch.
I mean, that's what we expect, right?
Yes.
I mean, like, out of these two teams, Gillfrost, like, should we expect anything less?
I was, like, looking for my popcorn, you know, just kind of hanging out here, enjoying that match because, I mean, it was beautiful. And, I mean, I don't even know really what to say. It's a lot easier with you know, some of these other less close matches to really point out and contrast what's going on. But it really is a fight-to-fight situation with these two teams.
I mean, it came down to the wire. And also, I mean, let's give credit where credit is due. Laser Kittenz was up 2-0, and Misfits coming very close to the reverse sweep there, and in a convincing fashion nonetheless. So even when one of these teams gets on a roll, you can see that the potential is there for the other team to bring it back. And that's just, I mean, it's fun to watch.
We've seen a lot of pressure out of both teams to go for the Zenyatas, Gray and Zebasai, to force out transcendences early, to allow their Genjis to make something happen. But even then, both Genjis have been really struggling, Kib and Nevix, to pick up the typical 2, 3, 4Ks because of how well people are like really disengaging and using their Winstons to just zap them out.
Well, something you brought up, Jason, that is very true, is that you take a look at it early on. Zebosai was getting isolated. He wasn't getting that much help from his team. Misfits did a much better job of creating space for Zebo, especially on this map where you didn't see Zebo get wrecked every time. Now, unfortunately, in the final fight, he did fall to Mauzaza, but overall, I feel like Zebo had more breathing room than what he had going back to Eichenwald.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see how these teams adapt coming into Assault. And I really am curious to see, because we saw a little bit more Ana from the side of Misfits early on. We were questioning, like, maybe they should be playing more Zenyatta. It seems to fit better. But honestly, it might be not a bad reaction to Mauzaza, who really loves getting in there and disrupting the backline. And you see him in the kill feed quite a bit, actually.
The thing is, for Misfits, this is like a game mode they really like. Like, they kind of pride themselves on Assault, and they've actually been a team who's always liked to play it. But I mean, we talked about forms earlier, right? Like ZP, I don't know how you feel about this, but do we feel like Misfits are on form today that we saw from last week? Because this is a rematch from last week, keep in mind.
It is a rematch, and I feel like Misfits is still playing well, perhaps not as well as last week. I do think the bigger change up here is that Laserkins has been playing on a much higher level where